All right, how you guys doing on this lovely Saturday afternoon? So this one I want to do a little different, just because I haven't built the lines yet and stuff, and I think this is a pretty interesting slate. It actually opens the door up for quite a lot of different types of lineup constructions, and so I figured this would be a much better time to do more of a construction show very quickly. Sometimes I'll go live, like randomly, super late on Saturdays or Fridays, messing with stuff, running with different projections and different constructions and things like that. And I normally get like, 10, 15 guys hanging out. We're just kind of talking and stuff like that. And that's more so what I'm probably going to do here. Because this will be more so diving into lines, talking about them. It seems that the sites just don't give a shit if you like build lines on stream. I'm still not completing lines on stream, but I will talk about quite a lot of different lineups probably after we get through the pick stuff, just because everybody wants the picks. What do you want? Where are you going with? So as I have in the description, like, please read the first 10 minutes of this is going to be the picks. So if you're asking me about picks in like 40 minutes, I'm going to be extremely annoyed because I'm getting all that out to you guys as fast as possible. In terms of AJ Allmendinger or Ty Gibbs, I think it makes sense to play one of them. I want to reiterate that the ownership on AJ is probably going to be pretty huge. We saw it be pretty huge at Road America, and I advocated for you to not play him in that race for all the different all the different things that can go wrong. In this situation, he's starting first, has a good car. I doubt he's going to run into as many issues here at Indy. So I think your first pick choosing is one of AJ and Ty Gibbs. Now I will say that I have AJ and Ty Gibbs projected for the two highest scores on the slate. But that is very dependent on them splitting laps led. It can very easily go two different directions for people. If somebody wants to pit and then we get a caution and they cycle to the lead, clearly it's not going to allow both Ty Gibbs and not both Ty Gibbs and AJ. Man, fuck these guys. They're two-letter first names. It's probably not going to allow them to both be optimal. With that said, question mark, because I don't have like streaming services and stuff, so I just use my streams online, and so I just watched everything today. Like, I know people were like bitching and moaning about how everything was going to Peacock and everything, but if you just if you're not a boomer, you can very easily just find links that show everything. You don't have to pay for anything. Anywho, so I watched both. I watched everything for both the series today, and I was curious on how the track would change in terms of qualifying, specifically for the Xfinity Series, because they, practice is basically a wash for them. It was on a wet racetrack with wet tires, and then NASCAR didn't allow them to put on slicks in that qualifying session. So we were just kind of here with a lot of drastically different qualifying speeds and people jumbled up in a lot of different places, and it honestly allows us to have more place differential plays than normal, like not huge plus 11 place differential plays, but enough to get you into the 40-point range to make a lot of these guys fairly interesting. And if we'll talk about that as we're kind of building lineups, but this race is kind of more wide open than normal, and not in a sense of fade AJ and place differential is the way to go, but there's a lot of different guys you can use to build these lineups and finish them out and everything. So as we kind of go through the picks, who do I like in this race? Who's projecting well for me? Well, AJ for sure. I'm probably going to do 4 lines today. I had a question in Discord yesterday of why don't I do like a situation like this? Why don't I do more cash or like the high dollar stuff? And one, with cash, I have to play far more money than I'm probably comfortable with to make it worth my time. Like, I'd probably have to put in like $200 to $300 in cash on Xfinity to make it worth it, and I just don't want to do that. And then high dollar, I just don't like the contest, like especially as we get later in the season. So that's why you just have me playing like 4 lines this week and next week and stuff like that. Then I'll fucking drop 800 at Daytona. And hopefully we don't get washed out like we do at Michigan. But anyway, I like AJ. I'm probably going to be underweight in the field now. Only playing 4 lines, so I'm probably going to have AJ in one lineup, and I'll probably, at this point, not have him in the other 3, because I think there are avenues, especially if people are paying up for a lot of drivers, that they're going to be kind of capped with some of their drivers scoring either low 30s or even high 20s, depending on how far they're having to punt. I think Brett Moffitt, I think Kaz Gralla, I think Weatherman, guys like that make a lot of sense based on where they're starting to where they can finish. I think in a lot of different situations they're going to perform well. Brandon Jones probably going to be popular. We've seen him through this situation like 7,000 times. Do what you will with Brandon Jones. I'm actively going to fade Brandon Jones because he's going to show up in a lot of different lineups based on his pricing, based on his projected points, based on his expected value. That's really my only couple takes. Is I'm probably going to actively fade Brandon Jones because I think there's a lot of people around him that are going to score well, the same, or better. And Ryan Sieg in the back. I think those are probably the best plays just on paper in most situations that you can use to build lineups. And I think a lot of people are going to go that direction. And that's mainly why I wanted to do more of a construction type of video. And if you guys find it boring, well, then I don't know what else to say, man. I apologize. I'm trying to not do different stuff because I already do this anyway, but I just figured this would be a better race to do all that. And I think that's mainly it. Past that, you're just kind of building with whatever is left over in your lineups if you're going in that route using those types of guys. And so let me just look at the chat real fast and we can kind of go. Just got here. Thank you, AD. I appreciate the pick question. How do we build lines with that 4 lap? I know, man. It's wild. It is wild. After this, please rant about Gregson. We already did that. We've done that like 4 times. Maybe we'll do that. I could see. Well, a good thing is there's not a lot of viewers here, 32. So clearly nobody gives a shit about construction, which is far more important than fucking picks. But okay then, stupid dumbass public. So this is where I'm at. I'm not gonna show everything because clearly I'd like to one, ask you for your support on Patreon, and 2, I don't just want to give everything away. I typically do at least one race, but I think for what I'm doing here, building lines, I don't think you necessarily need the projections. But this is where I have everybody projected at. I have them rated by or listed by DraftKings points. And one thing, so I don't really use, like this is what the aggregate score of all my sims and projections are. I typically use just one hard like projection or finishing projection for everybody. But certainly in races like this to where the lap leader and fast lap points are pretty low, it's, only 62 laps. And if you have a majority going to 2 guys, AJ and Ty Gibbs, then it really leaves the rest of the field being determined by just how they finish and where they pass people. So for example, I have Cole Custer today projected for 42 points. That's a 4th place finish. But if he, scores better than that, or if he finishes 3rd, it's going to go higher. If he scores lower, it's going to go lower. But you can very easily put him in, anywhere from the realistic 40 to 49 points range. And, same thing here, 30 to 39. These are the bottom guys that I really have no interest in playing unless you're having to pay up for a lot of people, which I don't think you necessarily have to do. If you were, Joe Graff Jr. and Joshua Williams would probably be the only 2 guys that I would focus on. But the vast majority of this contest is going to be one here. One, certainly what happens to AJ is going to dictate about half the field. We're probably going to see AJ coming around anywhere from 45 to 55% ownership, if not a little bit more, because we just always see him highly played here. The salary isn't a concern, and I assume that people are just going to want to jam him in because they always end up doing that. So this race here, so when I ran everything and I put my stuff in, it was one to use both AJ and Ty Gibbs, which, as I mentioned in the beginning, you need both them guys to lead laps if that's going to happen, because clearly I have, AJ projected for 58 points. I have Ty Gibbs projected, lower, but somewhat similar if he's leading, around half the race or a third of the race. If you take that away, clearly Ty Gibbs is going to fall to an unplayable situation. So I'm going to run this again without... Actually, I'll run it with Ty Gibbs to show you, the extent of this stuff. This is, with AJ and Gibbs. I don't like that at all. We'll do AJ and Ty. So, that'd be, AJ, Ty Gibbs, probably, Sieg, Moffitt, and then like Kaz, most likely. That's probably the build that would end up working pretty well with this. And then this kind of ends. This can usually end with like the chalky Brandon Jones play. You end up getting to... I'm going to pull this over here. This. Where we at? You know, you get a situation where you're most likely at like a Brandon Jones. You probably going to end up going to like Sage Karam. Possibly paying down on Jeremy Clements, whatever the case may be. But like this is like the type of build with both AJ and Ty Gibbs being there. So like that's kind of a chalky play, kind of a chalky build. Like you're going to not necessarily be the chalk and build, but if you're using both AJ and Ty Gibbs, you run into a situation where there's probably going to be a lot of people building very similar to you. That's why I advocate in this race to be an active fade of Brandon Jones. I think that's going to save you from a lot of just automatic like possible duplication lineups or duplicated lineups. So I want to move forward without playing Ty Gibbs in this, or without really messing with Ty Gibbs and trying to figure out what this field wants to do here. So let me go ahead and run this thing again without Ty Gibbs to see where we're at. We're seeing that even without Ty Gibbs, it's wanting to land on Jones quite a lot because Jones is so cheap at $7,200. We've seen him start in the back of the field. We've seen him in similar situations here. Sometimes he pays off, sometimes he doesn't. But they click on familiar names. We know that. We see the discount rate for Brandon Jones. I guarantee you people are interested in playing Brandon Jones here. Let's see. Let's get this. All right, we're already seeing... Not a big fan of those types of that type of comment. Thoughts on with that much salary? What's going on? So one, if he ran with my projections, that's not a bad thing. However, you shouldn't be leaving thousands on the table unless you're fading AJ. If you are fading AJ and you're not having AJ, then that's understandable. But when I'm looking at like high projected lineups, I'm getting anywhere from 200 to 300 to 600 left over. I'm not getting thousands of dollars left over. But that's, running stuff with AJ. If you remove both AJ and Ty Gibbs from that equation, then yes, sure, you're going to end up with a lot of place differential plays. But right now, the average amount that my projections are showing to use are in the 49,000s or like the full 50,000, because I have to scroll this pool of 150, like using AJ and looking at high projected lineups. I'm not seeing anywhere near that amount of money left over at the moment. Like I said, I'm sure if I remove AJ from that, you're going to get there. Anyway, so going back to total points, and this is more so how I build lines, how I look at things specifically here, as we said, like Ty Gibbs, probably out of the equation. AJ, take it or leave it. Not really important. Him dominating the race or fucking getting wrecked out is so binary and not important. I don't think that's the focal point of this situation. The focal point is people like Sam Mayer, Parker Kligerman, Sammy Smith. Like Sammy Smith at $8,800. I have these guys like. Where we at? So, like, for example, Sammy Smith. I have him projected to finish 10th today. He's not going to hit value there, but he has a really good chance of being a top 10 DraftKings scorer there. His price is not going to break the bank. And if Sammy Smith does better than 10th, not only is he have a high likelihood of being in a winning lineup, he has a high likelihood of passing like nearly all of these guys because the scoring is so close together for these guys. If you have the projections, you see what I'm talking about. I have a lot of guys projected for like 41, 42, 43 points, 44 points, and all that's dictated literally on track by one or two positions. Or if you get inside the top 10 or you fall out of the top 10 and you miss that extra bonus you get for being in a top 10 situation. Like, all these guys are very, very fluid in terms of upside. So whenever we're building lineups, let's go ahead and look at where the stuff is going at with right now. So past that, we'll just look at only AJ lines. So you're most like my highest projected right now is AJ. It's want to go John Nemechek. It's want to go Sieg. It's want to go Moffitt. It's want to go Kaz. Oh man, I hate it when I do that. But like with this, where are we at here? Like Moffitt's $7,100. As I said, a lot of people are probably going to go to Jones over Moffitt because he offers 2 place differential. He offers the 2 positions farther back. Karam then also offers an additional 4 positions back on Moffitt, and they're at $7,000. Nemechek is just getting in there because he's the 4th highest scoring guy, but he's not going to get there on value. Like, this is probably not a lineup I would run because it's very dependent on Nemechek remaining a top 3 scorer, which Allgaier can very easily pass him. We can see Kligerman very easily score the exact same points as Nemechek and not be there, or Nemechek not end up being there. And so when I'm looking at lines, when I look at what my projections are saying based on highest projected lines, based on the contest size, this is like a type of situation where I see this line, I understand why it's there, but it's one that I probably wouldn't end up playing because I would probably want to upgrade. I'd probably take off Nemechek and upgrade one of these guys. And that's why, going back to Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, Sam Mayer, Kaz Gralla, all these guys are pretty affordable today. Even Allgaier starting 13th at 9.8. Like, we know Allgaier is probably going to finish in the top 4 in this race. We have Sam Mayer starting 15th. He just won at Road America. Not saying that's the end-all be-all of why you would want to play him. But, like, if you're projecting Mayer to finish top 6, well, then he's going to certainly jump over these guys. Chandler Smith, I think, might get overlooked. He hasn't had tremendous finishes on road courses. But I think realistically, Chandler Smith probably has the highest likelihood of at least being a top 10 scorer on DraftKings in nearly every situation. And he has probably the most amount of upside of the people that I would have here already. Probably him and Sammy Smith. So that's why this race is so very interesting. It makes me really want to build, in a sense, like this, to give you an example. And clearly I'm going to like Moffitt. That's just how I am. But, like, if you go AJ, Smith, and Moffitt, like, that's the type of build that I would want to do today. Because when we look at the race in a sense of how it's going to play out, we lose the stage breaks. We lose the situation where we have a high chance for calamity at this racetrack. And I can't emphasize that enough. I had questions. I had somebody DM me on Twitter. He just didn't understand why that's so concerning. And I think Chicago should be a great example. I know they were single file, but when the leaders were entering the fucking restart zone and coming through the corner before the front straightaway, you still had the field going over the bridge. And yeah, that's single file. But yet again, look at the Xfinity Series when they had to deal with the choose cone a couple corners before the restart zone at Road America. Okay, there was huge checkups because everybody slows down at the choose cone to see where everybody's going, to see where everybody's at, and then you hop in your line, and then you have to get caught up to the field, and then you have some checkups because you're entering that last corner, and then everybody hits the restart zone, and you're taking a right-hander and stuff, and you're seeing the field spread out quite a lot. Like, we really weren't able to see huge dive bombs in the Xfinity Series race at Road America because there just wasn't people there that could really do it. The leaders were pretty locked into the front row. Your top 6 guys are pretty much locked into the top 6. The rest of the field, certainly the back half of the field, was pretty spread out. And we saw a really, really tame race, which lowers the DNF factor, the stupidity factor, and stuff like that. Even if we get yellows after yellows of guys getting stuck in the gravel and stuff, I think that really hinders like the upside of people really getting through the field. And if it really is going to be, more tame and more, not necessarily spread out, but harder to pass, you might as well take the guys who actually show skill, who can pass, who have the ability to get through the field, who have good equipment. Kligerman, Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Sammy Smith. We know that both Sam Hunt cars are going to be fast. We know that Brett Moffitt has the ability to score certainly anywhere in like the mid-30s to high 40s. Miguel Paluto has been very mid and stuff, but even if Miguel Paluto goes from 22nd and finishes the race in 16th, like he can be there. To whereas like it really hurts the upside of the expensive plays up top. So as I said, Ty Gibbs, as I said, or as we discussed earlier, like Cole Custer. Like Custer has like, not only does he need to win the race, he needs to lead. He needs to have all the other guys around him. He needs to be the best scorer in like the 10K range, which even then might still not be enough. So I'm not going to play Custer today. That's why I don't really like the Nemechek play at $9,600. I know he starts 8th, but very small upside. Austin Hill at 9.5, just nowhere to really go from there. Starting 4th. We're not playing Ross Chastain starting fucking 7th in that hunk of shit car. Sheldon Creed at 9th at $9,100. Yeah, sure, you need like 46 points, 47 points to pay off there. But in a value metric, he's probably going to be outscored. Like there's going to be better point per dollar plays than Creed here. So when I start looking at ways to build lineups, it really is focusing on the guys that I could realistically see scoring anywhere between 40 and 49 points. And the guys who have the ability to score high 30 to 39 points. And then if you're in a situation where you need salary relief, which I don't think you will, but like Williams, Poole, Weatherman are probably going to be those plays there. Anthony Alfredo, I might be too mean on him because I think the chalk plays in this slate are probably going to be Jones, probably going to be Alfredo, just because people see him starting in the back of the field and they want to go to them. They see Alfredo starting 32nd. Very easy for him to hit value and stuff, but I'm very concerned about that. Even building like I might be too high on Moffitt, but you can even 1-for-1 replace him, as I said, with like Sage Karam or Brandon Jones and stuff. That's why that 7K range is going to have a lot of ownership, and I think it's going to go to Jones. I really, really do. Let's see what you guys are saying here. I really appreciate it, Build. This is very Sheets, and I thank you very much, JJJ. I'm glad that you enjoy this, and a lot of people don't. I mean, as you can see, nobody watches Sheets and Bobby. Don't understand why. I don't understand the DFS infrastructure at all, or like how people work. Like we have literally watched Sheets win like $120,000 just in the past week and a half on stream. Like he's explaining what he's doing. He's working through this stuff. Like fuck Roto Grinders. Fuck FSI. Fuck Run Pure. Like seriously, fuck all the big sites. Sheets and Bobby literally tell you what they're doing, how they build lines, how they get there. And they are like the most successful guys that I know that play DFS and offer like any content. Like why would people not watch them? It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense of why people aren't doing this with lineups on a daily basis. Like I don't do this because we got 61 viewers. Like I already got some dislikes on here because people are bored. Like I'm not doing the picks or whatever. But like if you're not doing this, like why are you even making lineups and stuff like that? Should I stack the back? So I would not stack the back. I don't foresee true reasons to do that. Like I have a lot of guys in the back of the field projected to hit value, like decent value. I got Weatherman for 29 points. That's 5x. I got Anthony Alfredo for 29 points. That's 4.9x. You know, I got Williams for 27 points. That's 5.09 value. Like a lot of the guys in the back can easily hit value. their issue comes from. Like, Weatherman has talent, Poole has talent, we understand that. But it really is a situation where the leaders will be entering turn one when some of the field haven't even crossed the start-finish line yet on all these restarts. So you're already half a front straightaway behind the leaders. You're already, several car lengths behind the car in front of you. Especially once you get through the S's and you start going down like the inner back straightaway. Like, yes, those guys have talent, but those cars don't give you that ability to catch up like that much, to gain that much time. Like, we're not talking about a few tenths here. We're talking about, like, which is why I don't really want to play Weatherman a ton, or not Weatherman, Alfredo a ton. Like, let's say even just the first lap, for example. Once Alfredo gets through all the turns and starts heading down the back straightaway, yeah, he might have some cars in front of him, maybe like 6 tenths in front of him, and then maybe like second and 2 tenths in front of him, whatever. But Alfredo is starting 32nd. His gap from like 32nd to 23rd might be like 2.2 seconds. Like, these cars, you can't gain that. You can't get that back. We'd lose the stage cautions. I'm not saying we don't have yellows, but we lose the stage cautions. And what helps these guys, what helped them move forward previously in these races were all the late restarts, the ability to take advantage of these idiots dive bombing each other, people running off the track, huge wrecks. Like, when you look at Portland, the first turn at Portland is just a smaller version of this one here. And you have guys miss the corner at Portland, and then, you'd have the entire pack go through that turn one, and you'd be able to pass people, whatever. I think you really do lose that. And so in terms of, like, stacking from the back, I would not do that this week. I would seriously not do that. I would want to stack primarily, the teams that have realistic upside to finish top 10. And people like Ryan Sieg, that's why Brandon Jones is going to be popular. Moffitt, Kaz Gralla, like, that's kind of the situation. That's kind of why I would want to build there. And truly, look at how close this is. And I understand I'm blocking the real projection, but all the guys in blue, realistically, and just on my projections wise, can score anywhere from 49 to 40 points. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 guys within 9 points of each other, which realistically is 1 to 2 to 3 positions on the racetrack. We have from Riley Herbst to Brennan Poole can realistically score anywhere from 39 to 30 points. Yet again, about 2 to 3, 4 positions on the track. This entire field from, 49 points to 30 points is 29 points. Like, this is going to be an extremely tight contest. These lineups are going to be extremely tight. That's why I would I see this as a race to where there is upside getting off the more popular plays that have similar upside, if not more upside. Like Brandon Jones is super, super sketchy. We understand his driving aspect, and like we do this every time, but this is really it. Like when we look at the road course, and you look at Jones's like finishing positions. He's starting 25th today. Not going to do it. 13th. I got to look at the projections real fast, what I have him for. I'm giving Jones 16th today. So, that's roughly 35 points. That's just under value. If he, yet again, right in the middle of all this stuff, if he scores a bit better, then he's going to get closer to 39 points, closer to the upper 40s. But he's probably going to settle in anywhere from 35, 36, 37, 38, 39 points. And he's going to be outscored by people. Like this is going to be slightly higher. This is going to be bad. This is going to be bad. Slightly higher. This is like, what is this? Probably like 41, 42 points, 39 points from around there. Not going to push him over. So let's just say, like, for example, these were the finishes for today. winning lineup, probably beatable, optimal. Killing the lineup. Arguably optimal. Cashing, not going to kill the line there. Like, killing the lineup. Yeah, so, like, when you look at Jones, like, I'm not trying to stay on him so much, but that you got to go through and do that for every driver. And I just see, like, I'd much rather play some of the other 7K guys. Like, I have Karam projected under Jones, but I think he is the same upside, if not more. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Parker Retzlaff. He can go out and show the field. I mean, he was up there at Portland. He's been up there in more of these races. Like, this race is far much. It's way deeper than just, do we play AJ or do we not? Like, you have to do that anyway. Like, you go in and choose that to begin with. And then, like, that's the that's the entry to the club. You're paying your cover charge. Do you pay the cover charge to where you're playing AJ, or you play the cover charge where you're not playing AJ? Past that, then you're in, like, two different construction situations here, which is far more important than the initial, like, entry and stuff. But it was important for me to, like, hey, I gotta look at this. Like, projection wise, based on my stuff, it says play Ty and AJ together. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Only AJ lines, if the people are just throwing it into optimizers, which they do, it's probably going to lead you to a lot of AJ and Nemechek, AJ Allgaier, AJ, and then, like, you're kind of just back at, like, the Sam Mayer builds, the Kligerman builds. Mine lead to more Miguel Paludo, but I mean, that's just kind of how it is, What else are we doing here? Guys, I was confused. That's funny. Let's go on. So, LeBay is in the 35 car for Gase Motorsports. Like, man, that sucks. I gave LeBay, projected inside the 30 points, but that is not on par with the DGM cars he's in. Like, that's a real worry. That car just doesn't have the ability to gain that many positions, especially once the field gets spread out. And this race will probably go green outside of people running off track and getting stuck. Once you get a lap past the restart, you are not going to have wrecks in this track. You are not going to have massive pileups in this racetrack. It'll be somebody stalling on the track. It'll be somebody getting stuck in the gravel. And so I just don't see LeBay having, like, a realistic time of being able to pass people on speed alone and stuff. They ruined the fun of it. They really did. Like, that's I can't believe it, man. That was the only saving grace. Now, if we legit have, like, 8 to 7 road courses, I really hope they don't mess with Watkins Glen. I'm going to be really pissed. I'm going to be really pissy if they move the restart at Watkins Glen off the front straightaway, because one, it was never an issue there. But if they put it at that before that last right-hander, I'm going to be really annoyed. If they, like, what are you going to do? Change it for Sonoma too? Like, oh my God! I really hope they don't do that. But, like, man, if they do, like, 7 to 8 road courses or a year with this crap, like, that's just boring to watch again. And, like, why are we at all these fucking road course races? Everyone who qualified 15th on back tomorrow might as well write off any chance at top 5. Yeah, truly. Like, it's so hard to pass. I haven't ran anything for Cup yet, but like Byron, there's a lot of question marks on Byron. I don't even know what his price is. Like I said, I haven't touched anything, but I think it's going to be really hard to fucking pass tomorrow, and that opens the door up to possibly not playing Byron, to building different. I think it's going to be really easy to get different tomorrow, as in this race. I think it's easy to get different. I think if you are really, I wish we had accurate ownership plays. I want to argue this real fast. And I'm doing this to make a point here. I gotta find it. I thought this was very funny. Let me see. This one's to open here. So, I'm not gonna say who this was. I'm not gonna say what site this was. But this is an example of fucking guys mailing it in. Okay. This was yesterday's predicted ownership for the Truck Series race from a pretty big site, this ain't even fucking close, my guy. This ain't even close. What are we doing? These lower series, like, it's people mailing it in. There's, like, no sims, no optimizer. Like, if your projections are even in the ballpark, you're not getting projected ownership like this when the field is clearly they're playing these guys. Like, this is massive mistakes here. That's huge. But that's how these two lower series are. Even the Cup Series is a bit weird at times, but the Truck Series and Xfinity Series, I don't know how to do accurate ownership. Like, I can have an idea of what ownership is based off my projections, but I don't know how to project the field. But whoever gets to the point where they can project the field for these races, like, truly accurately, it's gonna kill, man. That's why, like, where do I think the field goes today? They're clearly going to AJ, which I think 58 points is a pretty realistic projection for him. He might score a bit more, because I think I'm only giving him like 28 laps led and like 17 fucking fast laps or something. So if he does more, he's going to push him higher. But where else are people going to go, man? I think it's Alfredo. I think it's Jones. It's probably going to be people like Moffitt and Sam Mayer and Sammy Smith. But to what extent? Where's the field going? This is a slate to where these two races, and I think road courses now offer you that ability to make changes based on what the ownership is going to come in at, and have like a realistic chance of taking down these contests and stuff. Let's see, what else is going on here? So, like, this one's a bit interesting. Like, this kind of seems like a line that I would do. Clear, as I said, I'm only doing 4 lines today, so I kind of have to figure out what I exactly want to do. Well, like this one yet again, it's wanting to pay up. It's just wanting to force somebody in this range, which it's wanting to use Creed here. But Chandler Smith can outscore. Oh, this is Chandler Smith. Yeah, let me fix that. Let's see. You can see. I mean, that's what you use. Chandler Smith. What else are these lineups doing? There's one used Riley Herbst at times, which isn't bad. Like, I don't know, man. This is a really interesting slate, and I would much rather build this way than this way. And these are going to project very similar types of lineups. Like, that's another thing that it's not that hand building doesn't show this, and even the optimizer, but how big is this contest today? That's the $4. 9,400 lineups. And based on Road America, we're probably going to see, what's the cash line? It's 22, or it's 2020. I'm going to say probably once the race gets going, because, you know, you can get an accurate sense of where everything's probably going to land by probably around like lap 25, 20-ish, or something like that, outside of drastic changes. From the highest scoring line to probably 320 is probably going to be like 16 points. So that's 8 on-track positions, roughly. From probably 200, 300-ish to like the cash line, it's probably going to be like 26 points. So that's 13 positions on the track, pretty much, between all these lineups. This is going to be incredibly close. So, like, the reason I bring that up is when I'm looking at these two different types of lineups, they're going to project very similar. Like, these are clearly going to out-project these lines on projections alone. But I think in upside, I think in the ownership discount, like, this type of build just makes more sense. So, like, I'm going to focus primarily on these, probably like these types of drivers to fill lineups out. Maybe I'm missing on Kligerman, but I can't play everybody. And another situation here, very easy to lose your ass in these types of lineups or in these types of races as well, because everything is so close. If you miss on one thing, you just don't even cash. So, do I really just want to like throw a ton of lineups into this? I might do 5 instead of 4, but these are slates I get really scared about. Not even completely being wrong, but just one guy, Sammy Smith, he starts 17th, some bitch finishes 26th. That line is not going to cash. Those negative place differential points it will kill that lineup. Like, there's no chance of you cashing with one of your guys running into trouble here. You need all your guys to perform well, and so that's another hesitation I have with road courses, just because you have to be like more precise than on normal ovals and stuff. Let's see. It's Balicki in play. Where do I got Balicki at? I got him projected from 30th to 19th, man. Or 30th to 39 DraftKings points, but I think there's better plays out there. Now, if you're laying on somebody and looking at where he's at in pricing, Balicki he's in 6,000, so Alfredo has a really good chance of outscoring him. Weatherman has a really good chance of outscoring him. Those are his 3 main contenders here. Balicki needs to basically finish in the top 15 and not have Alfredo like get past like 26 today. And same thing with Weatherman. Like, he needs Weatherman to like not finish any better than like 24th, which I would just, yet again, why I think Alfredo is going to be popular. People are probably going to go to Sieg, probably Alfredo from like $6,600 down. And then like Williams and Poole if you need that money, but like that's kind of why I think Alfredo's going to be a little bit popular. And if he's not, then like I also don't understand what people are doing. Like, I'm saying he's going to be popular because like most projections, I'm assuming, would probably say play Alfredo. And if they're not, like, what are you projecting him for that it's not wanting to play him at that price? Like, I don't know. That's what it is. Ryan Sieg. Ryan Sieg. We're not using his brother Kyle. Michael, and I don't really know how to answer that. We've been here for like 43 minutes, man. I don't know. You've heard everything that I've said so far. I don't think I can add anything that's gonna say things in a better way. How many points do I need to win? Oh, I mean, like, we just doing DFS 101. Like, are you green as grass over here? You're greenhorn? Like, what do you mean? That's why are you asking these questions, my guy? These are not the situations. These are not questions you should be asking yourself. I don't know. Okay. I think that's a good indication of where to end the stream. I think we've talked about enough. If you guys like this stuff, let me know. If it helps you out, let me know. You don't have to say it in the comments. You can DM me or tweet at me or something like that. We can start doing this more often. Typically, I just don't get I don't get as many viewers and stuff, so it is a detriment on the YouTube revenue. More viewers, I get more revenue. Less viewers, I get less revenue and stuff. A lot of this, most of the time, all this is already baked into the heat map, the projections and stuff like that. I typically run lines or make projections, run lines, and then give the feedback in the Discord. Sometimes write notes on the PDF on Patreon and stuff, but this is what I do for every single race. Just typically people get bored on stuff like that. Let's see. Kaz, Paluto, Herbst. I would probably go Kaz Grale in that situation there. Harry, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Harry. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate all that. And, yeah, I'll rant about Gregson tomorrow and stuff like that. So I'm going to head off. Best of luck. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the 59 of you guys still being here. And, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck.